Right, thanks for playing, guys. I'm going to chuck you all on mute again, and you can unmute yourselves, and I'll ask Brian to unmute himself, obviously. The main attraction for this morning's session is a tour of Brian's puzzle cave and his workshop. He's going to chat a bit about how he started making puzzles, what he's working on at the moment, show us around the place a bit. And I suspect that there's going to be plenty of time for Q&As as well. I had randomly suggested that we try a mass international solve of the largest Kumiki kangaroo in the world, but I'm not sure how feasible that's going to be. So we'll play that one by ear and see how keen Brian is. Brian, you're still on mute, mate. There's desperate poking at screens. He's off mute.
Okay.
Okay. Yep, there was lots of poking there. We will put the large kangaroo together, but we thought we'd just do it ourselves. I'll get Sue to do it. That'll be the best.
Except I can't lift some of the pieces.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Give her a hand.
Okay. I'm going to turn this screen around and act like a cameraman. That'll make it easier. There we go. Here we go. There we go.
May I suggest you all pin the Brian window so you can see it slightly larger if you haven't already done that.
Yeah, I think there's the speaker view button, which helps with that.
Yeah.
okay.
Cool.
We're going to go outside first. Like I said before, I had to change a light bulb because we actually floodlit the backyard so you could see some giant puzzles that we made for 2007's International Puzzle Party. So we'll head out that way now. One large puzzle is it's probably the largest sequential discovery puzzle that I've ever made, or maybe in the world. It's an old Indian Gujarat puzzle chest. We have some Indian puzzle locks on it, but I did a lot of modifications to it because it had a lot of white ants when I bought it. So I didn't think if I bodged it all out, it would be much. So that's the idea. The guys on the day really spent a lot of time playing with that. We're going to go outside now. And it's a giant Chinese ring puzzle. A little bit different. We've got it so you have to operate from both ends. So it helps if you've got two people. We operate one ring that end, then one ring that end, and so forth until you get to the center. So we'll go down to probably the biggest of all the puzzles. And
Hang on.
it is big.
I was going to try to flip it, but I can't. There you go.
We have a puzzle on the bottom, which has about 32 moves to get it completely apart. The big puzzle there at the top is just a standard 6-piece burr with a solid piece that goes in the end. It's only been together once. We've never taken it apart since it's been put in because we actually put the whole thing up with a 15-ton crane. We haven't had a crane back here since, so I've never played with the top one. So that's the major puzzles on this side of the house. We'll go back inside and you'll see more of a kid's maze than something you guys would probably solve pretty easily. Is one in the pavers. Can you see that, Sue?
Yep.
Yeah. Basically, you start in the center and you've got to find your way out over here. We'll go back in. On the ceiling, we needed something to mount the lights. I used a tangram using aluminium checker plate, polished aluminium checker plate to do a tangram on the roof. String puzzles, got a few there, not a lot. I'm not big on string puzzles really. Above we have a bunch of puzzle jugs. There's a few more around the other side. And come back into the puzzle room itself. That's my lock collection. On the wall, we've used stainless steel Rio and hang the locks individually on there. It's about the only thing I can put in here under the dartboard and not have to worry about them getting damaged. So that's why they ended up there. Then we have the essentials in any man cave, the bar and the fridge. And then you come round, we've got a giant think fun that normally would go into a shop there, and then we've got a Space Invaders machine.
And we really did finish the puzzle hunt.
Yeah, we did finish the puzzle hunt, even though we didn't get marks. Then
I know how that feels, don't worry.
pinball machine, then two-dimensional puzzles. We basically have them in these 2 plan drawers, 10 plan drawers for each pack. There's 2 sets. There's another set underneath the billiard table. These are just mainly two-dimensional puzzles that you put in, or two-dimensional puzzles. Then if you come down a bit further, we keep the metal puzzles here. Most of the metal puzzles are in there, or anything worth probably displaying. Yes, we've got 3 brass monkeys in there, well represented. Welsh stripes, well represented. And then pop lock, obviously. A bit further, we've got twisties. And we won't stay there very long because I'm not big on twisties either. As you can see, the ones we sell, and Sue wanted to take photos of them complete and messed up. Well, once I messed them up for the photos, they never ever got fixed again. So anyone who wants to come and visit and fix me twisties is quite welcome anytime. The latest edition, or one of the latest editions, it was too big to put on the billiard table for the competition, but is our optical illusion mat. And we have, we didn't go up the top.
Oh, that's
large puzzles at the top. We've taken a few lights off them at the moment, but hopefully you can see them. They're the things that can't be really displayed in a shelf too easily. Over here, I've arranged most of my burrs, and we put them in manufacturers. So basically, we've got a good Chino Mayo shelf here. The rest of his stuff's in a drawer somewhere. Juno, Pelican, Bill Cutler's stuff, so forth. Down further, we've got a lot of Vinco men. Vinco and his wife Dagmar, Sue have always been good friends with Vinco for many, many years, as you can see by the amount of puzzles I got of his. We have a little collection of Michelin. That's a bit of a sideline that I try and collect all the Michelins that I can find. Then we have some Kamikis down a bit further, and then this is one way I displayed the Kamiki puzzles, was in a long thin jar, and it was a good way of getting rid of your doubles, was to put them on the inside. There's actually more Kamikis in drawers here, and then these drawers vary in size. So this one was designed obviously to put the Haniyamas in. I leave them in the boxes because they've been taken out, and generally most of them are being played with at some point or another. But we saw the drawer was designed to take them in their boxes. We go on a bit further, you'll see the limited edition. We started them, hang on, I've got my little piece of paper here. Right. We started the limited edition in 1993. We started off only making 3 different puzzles, 6 of each. It was a way of, at Christmas time, it was just something we used to sell at the markets. We slowly improved, I think I improved my woodworking skills. As you can see, it goes from left to right. If you come down a bit further, you see what we would normally call our craftsman's range, or puzzles that we've made for exchange. We've been commissioned to make for exchange. You'll probably recognise a fair few in there. You come down a little bit further, this is a bit of an obscure, just more weird and wonderful things in here. A few puzzle jugs up the top. Then we've got a few impossible objects. Then we've got just like the light bulb. It's a bit of a weird thing down here in the bottom. Look, it really does work. Okay. And then now one of the questions I was asked by Allard was, he gave me a couple of things to guide me. One was, what was my first puzzle? We actually display it in the puzzle room. It was given to me by my uncle when I was about 6 years old. He worked in the mines in Tennant Creek. And back in the 60s, they never used to come up from underground because the mines were so deep. It took them longer to come up in those days, and so they had lunch down in the mines. And what they used to do to fill time, quite often they used to bend wire puzzles up. He brought this down to our place at Christmas time, and I remember being handed that puzzle, and I was playing with it for ages. Now I think all the adults sort of probably worked it out. It's only the basic part and stirrup. Anyway, I don't know if I actually worked it out, but all the adults wanted to show me, but I refused to let them show me. So that's my first puzzle. I got another question I was asked was, when did I get into puzzles? Well, that was when I got into them, because my mum continued to buy me puzzles then when she realised. So she bought a puzzle for my birthday, for my Christmas and so forth, or a couple. So that started my collection, but I only had about 100 puzzles in my collection. And when I went to South America, which was many, many years later, we were working for a hotel chain, me and Sue, both of us. And I saw a guy making, and these are actually from that, so this is just a basic solid piece. So very generic puzzles. And I looked at them and I thought, oh man, they're really cool. I reckon I could make those when I go back. So I came back home again, and in 1991, I actually started making them and going to markets. And I started selling them at a market in South Bank. The good thing about the market is I tried another, like a flea market, wasn't very successful there at all. But then a lady I know, a good friend of mine, suggested I go to a different type of market, and that was the market in South Bank in Brisbane, where lots and lots of tourists come through. Not so much at the moment, but lots of tourists would come through. So you had a different clientele every week. And that was really a good formula for selling the puzzles. What would happen was you'd have new people coming through buying souvenirs and so forth. It wasn't the same people coming to buy their fruit and veg. So it actually worked really, really well for about 10 years. And when we moved on from that, there's some of my, I think it's this drawer. Yeah. So we kept a fair few older versions of this puzzle. And our business evolved over the years when we started making wholesale when we were at the markets, because we got inquiries. Places like Thailand and China weren't making puzzles in those days. Probably Stuart Coughlin and a handful of other people around the world were the only ones making these puzzles. So we had a bit of a captured market, and we did a fair few corporate gifts as well. So you'll see different company names on here: National Nails.
You can't really see.
You probably can't see that, no. And then you've got nuts and bolt factories and so forth. We did one for a company, and it was what were they called? Access audits. And what it was, they were putting ramps in for wheelchair access. So we did a little house and then a little wheelchair man, and you had to get the wheelchair into the house. So we did all sorts of weird and wonderful things like that in the past. So then I was asked as well, when did I start designing puzzles? Well, those nail puzzles now, I did change a little bit as I was making them over the years. We changed, maybe put an extra bend in them or something like that, just made them a little more difficult. But the real puzzle, I probably would say, again, I only changed someone else's puzzle at the beginning. This is William Vanderpoel's original 18-piece burr. He's up here somewhere. And what I did was, he had 3 moves, I think it was, for the first one. I decided to change that. I saw I could do a couple of changes to it, and I got a 5-piece move. Well, that was pretty good. Then I thought I can go better. And I got it up to 17 moves. And the first puzzle party I went to was in 1999. I went along and saw Bill Cutler, and I was really proud that, the Burman, Bill Cutler's the Burman. So I decided to show him the 17 move one, and he just looked at me in disdain and said, "Well, 17, you should do more than 18, because Go PTM's done an 18-piece one." Well, I can't have that. So I went home again, and I added a couple of extra moves, and got 19 moves to it. So then I held the record, probably world record, for about 2 months. But that was kind of cool. I had the world record for 2 months. Then Go PTM designed, with Bill Cutler's computer programs, designed a balloon burr, which I think is 32 moves. Well, I gave up after that. I said, no, I'm doing these in my head. He's doing them on a computer. That wasn't fair. So I took me bat and ball and went home. So then in 1999, Gary Fouché gave a host gift to Edward Horton. He gave a lecture the following year in 2000, and it was about a safe that was the host gift. And the lecture really caught my eye. I was sitting up the back there, probably falling asleep, and then suddenly this guy says, "Oh, you unscrew this out of here, and then you screw this back in here, and the shaft's a little longer, and it flicked a switch inside, and you had these other things inside that did things." And I thought, man, these are really cool. They reminded me of video games. So you go to one level, and you go to the next level, and next level. So it was just a way of enhancing a puzzle, and you didn't need a computer to do it, which was really helpful as well. So a couple of years later, this is probably my first sequential discovery puzzle. the Sears Tower. And I like to theme things. So this is when I really started theming them, and it was an exchange puzzle in Chicago. And I figured these two radio towers on top could probably screw out and screw in. So it was a bit like the safe. One was longer than another, and you swapped them over and you did things. And then what happened was you would undo a lock. The burr is pretty basic, but the lock is actually quite tricky. And so that was, oh, that's right. And on Puzzle Party Day, what happened was Gary come up to me at my stall and he said, oh man, this is really cool. He says, you could take these pins and make them longer and you could do things and swap them over and everything. And I didn't say anything to him, but he bought it. And I thought, oh, good. I sold him one of my puzzles, you know. I was really excited about that. And then I didn't tell him that that's what was in the puzzle. But anyway, me and Gary have been good friends ever since. So, but the next thing that was asked was, if my house was caught on fire, what were the 3 puzzles I would take? Well, the house, we had a big bushfire here only about 5 years ago. And it wasn't the house that I was worried about. Actually, I rushed to the shed because the shed was actually more important, I thought, because I had all my timber in there, my tools and everything else. I didn't even worry about my puzzles. Anyway, but you'll see that later when you go down and have a look at the shed, if you're still with us. But probably the first one I would keep would be Lamina. Hold it up. And it's actually, again, got a Bill Cutler burr in the centre, pretty much. But I've encased it into a frame burr, and then we shaped it into a wombat. And I incorporated a lot of sequential stuff. You know, you'll find cubular poos and all sorts of things that come out of it, which wombats do have. And then you can Google that if you don't believe me. And then you find brass rods and you stick it in her eye and everything. And eventually you've got to find a baby. So I started theming my puzzles and as well, actually giving you objects, because I wanted to make sure that everyone got to the end of the puzzle. So I started putting things in them. The next one I'd probably go for is this one. The reason being, I was very, very good friends with John Moores. I didn't know him that long, probably only for about 5 or 6 years. But we did become very, very close and very good friends. And we spent many, many hours up until the wee hours of the morning drinking wine or whatever in a bar somewhere at an IPP. He asked me, he got very ill, and sadly he's not with us anymore, but he got very ill and he wanted to do one exchange. And he invited me back to his place in Monaco. And we were in Europe at the time, so we arranged it and we went to his house in Monaco and spent the weekend there. And we discussed that, oh, you know, the clock, he wanted something English because it was going to be in England. The IPP was going to be in London. He was an English boy, but even though he lived in Monaco, and he wanted something very English. So he thought the tower would be really, really good. We discussed clocks doing things and so forth, and we sat there until the wee hours of the morning again drinking red wine. But I came back, oh, that's right, I was going to say, was he was discussing all these things that we could do, and I was coming up with really wild ideas, and I'm thinking, you know, this is getting a lot of stuff happening in this puzzle. And I said, you know, and I come to the crunch, and I said, well, you know, John, what sort of budget you got here? You know, I've spent X amount of dollars on oil rigs before and oil wells and stuff like that. What's your budget for this puzzle? And like I said, it was early in the morning, and he looked at me with a straight face and just said, there is no budget. And that floors you a little bit when you're looking for a quote and trying to work out something. So yeah, we came back and I told Juno the whole story, and he was working for me at the time. And I said, look, we got pretty much an unlimited budget for this, but you've got to be realistic. But with him here working with me and myself, we actually bounced ideas off each other a lot of Junos in there. And what happened was we came up with this, and we would basically start competing. It's a bit like the SMS box. We'd compete with each other and trying to find more things to put into the puzzle. And sometimes they get a little bit hard that way, but anyway, so that is a really, really important piece to me. The next piece is not one of mine. It was something I found on eBay, and I didn't pay an awful lot of money for it. There's this one here. It's a sliding block puzzle. It actually is advertising for a Queensland Pastoral Society. It's an old company. I don't even know if they still exist. They've changed the name 15 times since that. And it incorporates cricket, which is a big Australian thing, and Brits. So And I'd say these are pretty much graphics from someone like Sir Donald Bradman. And it's a very unique puzzle because, to my knowledge, I don't know of another one in the world. And even James Delgetty doesn't have one in his collection. So I'm pretty chuffed about having that. So yeah, that'd probably be the third one in the list. But that was inspired me to do the back. That's got a Sir Donald Bradman, of course, a coin in the top of that. So yeah, I'm probably try and grab 4 puzzles. But then again, you'd have to go with a Katie because I reckon the price of Katie's been going for lately. I could sell that thing and restock half my bloody puzzle collection again. So yeah, Katie'd have to definitely come as well. So now, I think what's the list? So we're going to go to the kangaroo.
Yeah.
Okay. Now Sue's just got to set up the camera.
Because
This could be a bit.
could be a bit tricky. Sorry. There she is. Right. There we go.
So is that working?
Yep.
We in there?
Yep. Now,
Okay. Okay.
what's the next bit?
Right. Well, we start over there.
Okay.
The big one. That's it. Come on. Get your muscles in action. So it's not exactly the same as a Kamiki puzzle because I had to modify it because the pieces are so big. I had to have some way of putting it together and not lose your fingers. Yeah, that'll do. That one.
All right.
You notice we cheated.
We had to practice.
We had to practice and we're going around in order. Because it hasn't. This puzzle hasn't been done since 2007 because that's the last time it came apart. No, it's got to go there soon.
Oh, jeez.
No, not that way. That way. There we go. Okay. Oh, get your muscles in there. Come on.
Which one?
That one? Yeah.
Okay.
Good. I'm going to slide this out now. Just pull that out. I'm going to put that one in there.
Oh, shit, how?
Supposed to say shit on TV. Hang on, you've got to put the top one in. Got to put Wendy's head in. Hang on, slowly. And there's no race.
Oh, she's around the wrong way. That one's around the wrong way. It's all right.
You can go and get a cup of tea if you want to.
Or you can yell out some help.
There, that's it. Okay, now put the head in. Okay. She's a bit lopsided. We're going to bring this one over now. The other leg. Okay. The bum goes on next. That goes on the front.
Is anyone in a good collections? Should be.
There at the moment.
It is. It is. Okay.
No, not working. Anyway. There we go. Okay. What are we missing?
House behind you. Pretty life size.
Okay.
Right.
Now I need a drink.
Okay.
Weigh, guys?
Pardon?
How much does that thing weigh?
More than we could pick up, I think. I don't know. A lot. A real lot. Can you pick it up? Can you pick it up on your own?
Not.
No, Brian
Not
can't
without
pick it.
hurting my back.
Brian can't pick it up on his own. But you can just slide it around.
No.
No. It
is really heavy. It's all rosewood. What is it? No, rose alder. Sorry, not rosewood. Rose alder, North Queensland timber. It's fairly light. It's not a real hard timber, but it's still that much timber in there. It's a fair whack of timber.
Yeah.
But I'm actually pretty happy with it because we made it for a shop. We had a shop in down the Gold Coast, many years ago, and we made it as a piece to put in the front of the shop. And it actually still fits together quite nicely. It's not too sloppy at all. We now are going to go for a walk down. We'll see a couple more giant puzzles outside, and then we're going to head down to the shed and talk about the latest project and some of the systems that we got set in place.
Did anyone have any questions?
Oh, yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
We're
How
unmuted.
much to ship that kangaroo to the
Those
UK?
parts heavy soon.
What was that?
I don't know. Ask again.
Was the parts heavy soon when you was passing them to Brian?
How heavy? What?
Were they heavy? Because Brian didn't pick them up, you did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're each piece is quite heavy. A
Yeah,
few.
They look very
quite-
heavy.
Yeah, no, they're quite a few kilos, a couple of kilos.
Just one piece looks heavy, let alone the whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, they are. Yeah.
they're very heavy. Very, very heavy. Yeah. Now we're going
No,
to
we're gonna
that.
head out the door.
Yeah, we think
Okay.
we'll go to the shed now.
No, hang on. Before we go out, we've got to get out the door.
This is the door lock.
Some of you guys have got one of these, I'm sure. No, that's not it. Hang on. Oh, down the bottom. Can't pretend to do it really quickly, can I? Voila. Lucky that fire's not here. Now, one of the, some of you might actually own a telephone box. This is the large version of it. And it is actually a genuine Queensland PMG telephone box from in Queensland. I designed the words, actually the letters spell out telephone box, and it was designed in bird tools. So it is actually quite a difficult packing puzzle. So we're not taking it out right now. What's the next
And then
one?
we'll go towards the
we've got
shed.
one more, what we would call stainless steel sculpture, more than a puzzle, but it is actually a puzzle. It was made, it's a string puzzle. It's the fish, come chook, chicken, whatever. I'm not sure quite what it is.
I don't know if you can see that because it's quite
Quite dark.
dark here now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, now you've just pulled the light out.
and now I pulled the light. I tripped over the light switch. Sorry, I tripped over the light switch.
That better?
Yep.
Now I'm blinded. Okay.
All right, we'll go into the shed. It's too far up there.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the entrance to our shed where I normally park my car. You'll see lots of wood, lots of bulk stock up the top,
Up in the roof.
up in the roof, round here, and more wood. There's more all the twisty puzzles and they're kept underneath there. We have on the trays you see here the centres for Black Hole Burr. We're remaking the Black Hole Burr Junior design. Down here you'll see us where we actually assemble some orders from. There's bulk stock up again. This is the main, one of the main woodworking rooms. You'll see a table saw here. Around.
Yep.
It's set up for this product that we're going to make now. That's the next one we're making. It's called Abraham's Well. It was supposed to be ready for Jerusalem, but something put Jerusalem on hold, which is probably beneficial for me because it's not ready. It's been covered up so you can't see too much what's inside, but normally you would see what's on the outside of that. Now, just quickly, I'll go through a couple of the stations that we work at this. For example, just cutting wood. We tend to set a station up to do more than just one job because I don't like just cutting all the one thing and then cutting something else and changing and going backwards and forwards, back and forwards. It's just easier to do everything in one go if possible. But when you're doing 500 puzzles, you've got to be really, really careful that you don't make 500 mistakes. So in this case, you would lock that into place, come through and cut it. But then without changing anything, if I want to cut these pieces, but they're not going to be one of that length. So I'd change it, put this block on here. Slide that along, again, using the same clamp, and now we cut it again. So now we're cutting a second piece for this puzzle. This goes on through all these other things. For cutting just about every piece for this puzzle will be cut on this jig at this time, even down to little grooves that are going to be cut on here. All I do is adjust the height of the saw blade, which is not a very hard thing to set again. And I need to cut that little groove. So it'll just sit in there, sit in that, and hold it down with your finger and go through and cut the groove. That jig there will cut another thing that's got something else that's got to go through and cut. So that's one workstation. This is the latest toy that we've just added to the collection down here. Gary Fauché came and visited me after Japan last year. While he was here, we were talking about this puzzle, and I said I needed to buy a mill, and I thought he'd be a pretty good person to ask. And he much to Sue's surprise, we were supposed to show in Brisbane. He was only here for 3 or 4 days. And on one of the trips to Brisbane, we spent half a day at a machine shop. And he was absolutely stoked wandering around the machine shop. And he helped me spend my money. So this is what we ended up buying. So it's only at the moment, it's done a few prototype pieces there. It's been making the jigs and so forth. These are a number of different jigs. Again, like the table saw, this thing will set up and it'll make, without changing too many things, you can do a lot of different jobs with it. So that's the mill, that's the latest. The next one is the lathe. As you can see, it's a bit dirtier, so it's done a lot more work. This one was bought for the 3-wise bolts. And so this time it's going to have to drill a lot of holes to make the big well part in the middle of the well. So we've got lots of different chucks to go into place. Again, drilling different things and so forth. More jigs are being made. We can use the laser cutter to make different things. Now that'll be going to the chuck and it'll hold things in certain places. These are all offset. So basically I've been working on for the last couple of days a week for the last 6 months, making jigs, getting everything ready to go. We have actually just started this week to start making pieces in earnest. And then you move on a bit further. This was bought for the bat, the opening bat, because we only had to really do some threads on it, so it only needed to be a small lathe. At the moment, it's cutting very, very small pieces of brass out of thin wire, and that'll go on onto the well as well. Now, that'll cut lots and lots of Allen keys, because there's 2 Allen keys in the puzzle, and they're obviously not going to put full-size Allen keys into the puzzle, so they've got to be cut down. So when you've got employees, you've got to sort of have something really, really safe. You can't have them sitting there going chick, chick, chick with their hands, right? So this will be set up to cut lots of Allen keys to make them much, much smaller. Brass stock for the well, ready to be cut. This is the stock. All the brass here is for the 500 puzzles that we'll be making. So that's all the brass. Timber on the front, here, here. It's only been bandsawed at the moment to almost the right size. It's been sitting here drying since until we're ready. Then it'll go through the thicknesses. We have 2 thicknesses, which seems a bit weird to have 2 thicknesses one after another. This is the original one I had, and I've had for over 30 years. We actually technically wore it out because it was getting more and more inaccurate. There's a curve in the bottom of the thicknesser. So the piece of wood would come through on a slight angle, or it could be on that side of the curve and come through. It was getting everything out of square. So I needed to get a new one, and luckily Eric Fuller was talking on a forum there a few years back, and he was raving about how great this thicknesser was. And it was, you know, really, we have an expression in Australia called the duck's guts, and it really is. And what happened was I went and bought it, and I would recommend that piece of machinery for anyone if you want to do accurate work. It's a really, really good piece of machinery. You'll see the dust extraction systems set up for all the different places. This is the painting section. And we would do all the painting here with the dust extraction, taking the paint out. Up the top, we jokingly say we've got 3 generations of wood cutting equipment now. the laser gun was a bit of a joke. What happened was we had to change the laser tube in the laser machine, which we'll show you in a minute. The girl who was helping, one of the girls that worked with me, Sandra, she says, how do you recycle a laser tube? And I sat and thought about it for a couple of days. And we said, oh, we could make a laser gun. And I was sort of joking at the time. She said, yeah. This thing in the middle, the cooling thing, I think it is, I think I told her that it was the cooling thing. She said, oh, the cooling thing, you could put green cordial in there and stuff, and the thing just got blown out of proportion, actually. So that's what we ended up with, was the I don't know, Buck Rogers laser gun. So you come around the corner here, and you'll see one dust extractor. That's for that room. It does extract the paint fumes by changing one over from here. That'll take sawdust into there. I change that hose, put it under there, and it'll take the paint fumes out of the shed and out into the neighbour's place. Luckily, we live on acreage. We got two dust extractors. This is a serious one in here. It's a double bunger. Then you'll see all the different workstations, and that's for the room next door. So we can recycle the air back into the room, especially in Australia. Summer could be very, very wet, and we dehumidify the room with an air conditioner. And if you've got an air conditioner sucking all the dry air or all the moisture out of the air, you don't want to be pumping it back out of the shed again. So I recirculate it back into the room, so it rotates back around. In winter now, when it's dry, we'll actually take the excess dust and air can go out through the roof. So we change it around a little bit. We put it in this box just to keep it away from us in there. We don't have to put up the noise, and we don't have to put up the excess little dust, fine dust. This is the section where it probably makes us the money. This is where we actually assemble all the orders, and you'll come up here. There's two workstations, and we keep the girls apart because of COVID. We've got to have them 1.5 metres apart from each other and so forth, and try and, even though it's a bit tight in here, we keep, these are all, we received a bunch of lotuses only last week from Will, and we put them on Friday night, so we got the girls to package them all up for next week. So they'll all go out Monday. This is the laser cutter. The jig in here is a little bit elaborate, but that's to hold the sheet. And because they're 10 mil, you don't want the piece to fall and get nipped by the laser. So this actually, when the piece is cut, it just stays sitting on top of the nails or on top of the screws. So then it'll finish the sheet. You come along, take the pieces out of the sheet, and then you'll see them up there where the girls scrape the edges. So that's our laser cutter. It's kept in here to keep away from the dust as well, obviously. So it's a dust-proof room, this one. In here, this is where basically every box has got a different puzzle in it, different number. It's where the girls will assemble their orders. They'll have their tray, and they'll put one order in each tray. They'll go around and select the puzzles they've got to put in. Then they'll package them all up on the bench around the corner. And this is the puzzle pieces that we're making at the moment on the laser. There for the black hole there with the wooden pieces out the front. A little bit of bubble wrap. This is probably one of the major woodworking sections where we do a lot of the work. You'll find different router stations. And again, like we do, each router set up, we don't adjust it, but we adjust the jigs that go on top of them. So we have a lot of grooves that are going to be done in this puzzle over there. So this jig will put a block in here, and we'll go bang, and we'll do a groove. Then we'll, using the same, put it in, bang, and it's totally in a different spot for the puzzle. So now you've got safe setting the router up twice. Again, third one. This one will come through and do that. We just adjust the length sometimes, maybe, depending on the puzzle. The next one is part of the well. And obviously that's the big hole we've got to drill on the lathe out there. Two little holes got to be drilled with a thread cut in here. These things I'm showing you are all on the outside of the puzzle, so I'm not overly worried about giving away any spoilers. But, simple little, it's not, you need to drill that hole, but we drill that hole, and we move it around, and we just line it up with that one there, and lock it again, and drill the other hole. So that'll stay set up, and that drill press will just do that one job for the whole 500 puzzles. This one here is another old radial arm saw that's just pretty worn out, but it's still, the motor's okay, but it doesn't run backwards and forwards that way very well. I mean, not accurately anyway, not that they were ever that accurate. But what it does is it puts a groove in certain blocks. So when they go on the router doesn't have to work so hard to get through the block of wood. So it breaks up the wood before, so you can take the wood out easily and not burn your router bit out, because again, you don't want to be changing that router bit. 2 sanding stations, a jigging setup. This one here, it'll do 5 blocks on this side. So you adjust different depths with the sticks, lock that piece of wood in, maybe lock that bit of wood in, blah, 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 and you work your way across. So the girls will be sitting here gluing, and they pull this one out. Once they finish this side, they pull that out and they rotate it. They put it back in here. And they glue this side. So they'll do up to 10 different blocks, make 10 different parts for puzzles. And when they're finished, they rotate it. Find the hole, there it is. Then you take these ones out and start all over again. So that just minimises not having 2 lots of jigs all the way along the bench. It just sort of tightens everything up. Another router there doing something. This one here is another router. Again, totally different bits that are in the others. And again, more than 1 jig to do different things. Same with the drill presses. Something like this. We've got 3 different size drills and 3 different depths that have got to be done here. So we'd have 3 different blocks. Let me just name the block. It says big hole, really complicated. Big hole magnet block, right? Bottom. So we use the big bit, right? Then we go to the next one. Small hole, bottom. Whoops. Don't lose them. But, so it's just saves having to have too many more things. So the safe is just to put router bits in actually, and drill bits and saw blades and everything. Just in case we have some kid comes through here and wants to go home with a bucket or something. This one here is for drilling several holes again by changing the jig. These 2 won't be used this time. They're on holidays for this puzzle. This one is the CNC. It'll actually make some very, very small parts inside the puzzle. And we're in the process of setting that up now. Then you come down here. This is, I don't think what's his name. Doesn't matter. This is what was affectionately known as Big Green Saw. And that's a set of cutters in there at the moment. That's set in to, basically you would slide that across there. There's an over-centering clamp. You would drop that into here. And so it just does checkouts on lots and lots. We've done a lot of, and then you would bring this through and you'd do that checkout. Release, take it out. I'm just leave them there. I don't want to damage those because they're painted and everything now. You can change that by using different cutters. So another set of cutters here that are slightly wider. These cutters here are much wider again. They can range anywhere from probably about 1/4 of an inch right up to 3 inches, or 6 mil through to 75 mil. The strange part is when you put the 75 mil ones on, you saw the big dust extractor on the other side. This thing actually makes more wind than the dust extractor, so we end up with a lot of sawdust on the really big cutters. And to give you an idea how it works. All this mechanism was designed and made by myself just to do burr pieces, because that's what we used to make a lot of. We don't make as many now. It's been upgraded with digital things to enhance it, but the saw itself is probably around about 1940s, 50s, probably at the latest. So it's an old piece of machinery. It's been rebuilt about 3 or 4 times to get it more and more accurate. So that's about the end of the tour. So we'll just put, if there's any questions, I need to go get
Brian,
thirsty.
Brian, you've got lots of jigs for different puzzles. Do you throw them away when you've done a round of a puzzle, or do you store them all to make
pretty much
for a second round?
No, we pretty much, we don't make second runs of anything anymore. Something like the laser cut is a different story. Those aluminium jigs, yes, we've kept. When I'm saying the aluminium, that's the ones for the laser cut. We keep those and use them again. That's really commercial product that we sell every day of the week. Like a lot of Juno's designs. So we have permission to make them. We've never gone back and made any of the ones that we've got permission of, like 2 and 2 and stuff like that. So we just move on to other puzzles. It's just better to do that. So
It sounds like you bought,
most get thrown away.
sounds like you bought
Sorry.
a number of pieces of equipment for specific puzzles.
Yep. Yeah. Well,
Did you ever
No,
do the
they-
reverse? Like, did you ever get a piece of equipment and then, in other words, the puzzle came out because you had the capability that you didn't have before?
oh, yeah. Well, that's why I said, you know, every time we buy a new piece of machinery, but we still use older bits of machinery to do other things in that, other complex parts in that puzzle. So yes, I remember my first router I bought, and we're talking now probably 35 years ago, 25 years ago, close to 30 years ago. I bought the router thinking, oh, you know, that's a $500 thing. I went, what am I going to do with $500 worth of router, you know? And I had one job for it. But as you can see now, we use routers for just about everything. So, you know, you learn to use it. Once you learn to use it, you do find many other things for it to do.
Are there any more tools on the shopping list, Brian? And do you think 500 puzzles is enough?
You're going to buy all 500, Steve?
Yeah, yeah, an investment. I see it as an investment.
You're
I'm
going
going to buy 500 and they'll be up on Paradise on Monday morning.
Yeah.
Drip feed them, Steve. You'll get better money.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why we stopped making limited edition. Was just that, you know, it got too stressful and everything else to make 3 every year, and I had to make more and more of them. So now I just make one and probably one a year, and just make a hell of a lot of them. At least you don't have Eric Fuller's problem having his website falling over then too. So you just put on and it doesn't matter. There's no bitching there either. So yeah, no, that it's just the way we've always evolved. We just try and do it the easiest way.
Yeah. I mean, there's no fun in putting that amount of stress on yourself. Sorry, I'm talking from behind the camera, but you know, there's no fun and no enjoyment in introducing all that stress on yourself. You want to enjoy making puzzles. You don't want to make it hard for yourself. So just, oh well, we didn't make one in 2020. Too bad. Move on.
We buy a lot of stock in too, so we're selling other people's stock and stuff like that. So, like I said, the business has evolved over the years. You know, we're a long way from selling, you know, 30, 40 puzzles or 20, 30 puzzles at a market over a weekend. So, you know, it's just, yeah.
So
I was going to say, I can't handle the people now anyway at the markets. I'm too old and grumpy.
Well, I'm going to say it's the second time I've seen this tour, and it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's a lovely setup you've got, and I watch you walk around there with loads of enthusiasm, talking us through the different things. How do you keep that enthusiasm up? It just, you know, do you still have the same vibe as you had 20 years ago? Because it's the enthusiasm shows brilliant.
No. No, I remember going to my first IPP, and a lot of you guys, when you go to your first IPP, you come away from there and you're on steroids. You're on beans, you know. And now, you know, I'm going to come back and I'm going to make the world's best puzzle and blah 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 blah, you know. But no, I'm a bit more laid back. It's just probably old age creeping in. But yeah, no, the enthusiasm's not quite there as it used to be.
You still like making puzzles?
I still like making, don't get me wrong. Now, like Sue said, I still like making puzzles. I actually like this section of it when I'm developing the jigs, trying to work out the impossible. Like you said before, you saw the other tour there the other day from the Israeli guys, and I was telling them there was a problem with the puzzle. It's not going to take you long when you pick the puzzle up. You realise there's 2 huge big magnets in this puzzle. But they've just caused havoc with the whole puzzle. Every time you want to put something in and make it do something, those bloody magnets keep coming in the way. They're just a pain in the butt. But you have to have them to do what I wanted to do. So I've had to move. It's taken me since that Zoom that to sort those sort of problems out. And I think I've got them sorted out now. So that's why we said we've started the production only this week. And that is the fun part. That's the puzzle part of it I like now.
The puzzle side.
It's just the designing and getting it, not even the designing of it, it's just making it work. That's the thrill, to be able to make what most people say is impossible, and you just make it work. And hopefully it works for everybody. But yeah, that's another story.
So it seems quite packed over there in the shed. What if you need to have another machine? Will you throw something out, or are you going to extend the shed?
No. Another puzzle. That's another puzzle. We keep jamming them in here.
Hacking puzzle.
Yeah, no. That's what I said. The gluing bench got shortened up, and we have the rotating gluing bench now. Yeah, no. It's amazing. When I got that mill, Sue thinks that the place is full, so I won't be buying anything new. But I can always manage to find somewhere to put it. Don't worry. And if you had a closer look at the mill, there's actually holes cut in the board so I can feed things through there, so I can actually put something into the lathe when I cut short lengths out of long lengths of rod and stuff. So yeah, no, everything gets modified. That's another puzzle.
But there will be no shed extension. Let me just say.
I've got to fit everything in. It's a pretty big shed. It is 10 metres by 20 metres. It's a pretty big shed.
But no extension.
Yeah.
Maybe in the ground.
Yeah, it could go down.
What about the puzzle
working there,
cover?
Brian?
Sorry, I missed that. There was two people talking. Now no one's talking.
Okay, I ask. What about the puzzle under the cover? Behind the brass bar?
I was wondering when you were going to say something about that. Yeah, well, that's my retirement puzzle.
Okay.
So I stop making puzzles for that one. You want to show you?
Okay.
Yeah,
Come on.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll go for a trip.
This is a puzzle that we have been talking about with Brian for a long time, and he never
has lots of
finds
boxes
time to.
on top.
It's a good place to store empty boxes.
Yeah, it has lots of boxes on top, so.
So it's, it's sort of getting complete, but I haven't done anything on it probably for 20 years.
Yeah.
I should actually fill people in what it is. It's actually a 66 Mustang. And I've had it now since 88. Yeah, okay. This is the lady who keeps reminding me. So I've had it since 88. I got it in a basket case, which means it was all in pieces. The guy pulled it apart and couldn't put it back together. But it wasn't painted and everything there. So I've done some things to it. But we worked out the other day, it's a 66 Mustang. I've had it since 88. It spent more time in my shed than it ever did on the road. So it's in really good condition as far as rust and everything goes. But there's another one next door here.
Also got lots of boxes on top of it.
And there's another storage place for puzzles. But I don't know if you've got enough light here to do that.
Yeah.
It's actually a 48 Ford. And underneath there, if you lifted the bonnet, you'd see a supercharger and stuff. That was before puzzles. I used to be I was a bit of a rev head, and I was into all sorts of fast cars and stuff like that. But we used to show this one at hot rod shows and stuff. So
there's your room for extension.
Yeah. Well, I could sell one of these, and hey, I've got heaps more room. Yeah. So.
Brian, how many people work in there at the same time?
Well, we keep me, Sue.
No, I don't work down here.
No, you don't work down here, no. But the business keeps 4 of us fully time employed. And I have 2 girls working for pretty much full time. So they basically assemble orders and so forth in the morning, and then the rest of the day, depending on Monday, obviously we're really, really busy. They would do orders all day because then you're catching up on Saturday, Sunday, and Sunday night. I think late Friday night, Saturday, so you got basically 3 days work they do on Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday they would probably only work half days, and then they would do the boring, shitty jobs that I give them, actually, like drilling thousands of holes or something, So, I'll palm that off onto them in that last half of those other 4 days. No questions?
Brian, it looks like you spend a lot of time making sure that the processes are already efficient. Looks like a hell of a lot of thought has to go into that.
Yeah, it's a safety net, really. It really is a safety net to get that right. In the past, we've done it, even on some of the standard range ones. If you get out on something and you make 500 of them, it's a big boo-boo. It really is a big boo-boo, you can only burn so much wood in the pot belly without waking up to the fact that, you're wasting money. So, a lot of thought go into it. And I don't mind taking a long time to do it, because it's amazing just how many mistakes that you'll be thinking about the puzzle, and you've got to be careful that you don't get stuck in a time warp and you go, that's what they've got to do. That's what the next person's that's what they're going to do next. And that's what they've got to do next. That's what they've got to do next. You've got to start sitting back a little bit when you're designing it. And this is a good time to do it, is to take your time in the design, and what are other stupid things that the person could do. They're not going to do what you want them to do sometimes. So, you don't get them right all the time, but that is really, really important, especially in a sequential discovery puzzle. If you've got a burr, it's, like, I don't even make a prototype anymore when it comes to a burr. If it works in burr tools, that's it. We just cut the wood, thickness the wood, cut the wood, and make the puzzle. But with the sequential discovery puzzle, it's a whole new ball game.
Hey, Brian, thanks for the tour. That was fantastic. And I can't wait to come visit you one day, too, to see that in person.
Steve Camp.
Yeah, Steve,
no, you are extremely welcome, but it might be a year or two before you get here, at least.
Yeah.
We've been joking about that. Australia lives on an island, so it's a really big moat to keep people out.
Yeah. We hardly leave the house.
Yeah.
No, but I noticed that you set up all sorts of efficiencies so that you can cut 3 things at once, or different parts of the puzzle. Do you plan that in? Or do you redesign just for that idea, or do you just think about what could be efficient after the fact?
Basically, that jig on the table saw, let's say it's the easiest way to explain. You have to cut one piece of wood. Now, just because it's a different thickness piece of wood, and as long as it's the same distance, that's just a matter of changing that block on top. So, you just elaborate, and sometimes you change it around. You might just make the sled as efficient as possible. I would just say, I've got to cut that piece in the puzzle first, that piece next piece, and then I would just keep adding things to the jig. And if something doesn't quite work, I might go back and start again. But I really can't say how I do that. It's just, you just start sticking it all in there, that's all. And I can't afford another table saw, so Juno went and bought 2 table saws. I'd get killed if I tried to buy a second table saw.
Brian, do you see any use for an Incra jig, or do you just use blocks and stops?
Just blocks and stops. It's just, you get a nailing gun there. That's the best thing. You just put a block in and go bang, and and then you test it and so forth. And then when you're happy, you might tap that block with the nail in it. And then once you've got it absolutely spot on, you just whack a couple more nails in, and it's not going to move. So I've always sort of, I've never gone down that path. It's expensive probably, and I've heard stories before where, like that sled's it's pretty agricultural, and it's just made out of wood, but it's all made out of 5-ply or 10-ply or whatever. And laminated and so forth, so it's pretty stable. But I'm just used to working with wood. I'm starting to get into a bit more metal, but no, I've never used an ink. I've seen them. They're expensive. I have never worked with one, so I really can't give you an answer on that.
No more questions.
The whole world's gone quiet.
Any more questions?
Any more questions?
I think we all are impressed. Looks nice.
Yeah.
Functional.
Yeah.
Thank you for the tour.
Okay. Thank you.
Nobody else has any.
You're very welcome, and I'm glad that I didn't bore you to death and go to. Well, it sounds like some of you just went to sleep.
Brian and Sue, thank you so much for doing that for us. Really appreciate it. And thanks for telling us the stories up front. It's really nice to hear the story about John. So thanks for sharing that with us. And thanks so much for showing us behind the scenes, because you and I have had a chat about this sort of stuff once or twice before, and it's always amazed me that you can come up with something which is such a well-organized process that you can get 3 or 4 people to help you, and the end result is still exactly what it is that you wanted. So thanks for showing us behind the curtain, as it were. Really appreciate your time on Saturday night. Thanks for showing us around, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Might go back up to the puzzle room because it's actually chilly because it's midwinter as well.
What is chilly?
Well, it must be below 20 out there.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Celsius.
It's really not that cold. No, it's not that cold. Well, the other day it was 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got down to 3 the other night.
Well, how would you know?
Well, I was in bed.
All right, we'll make our way back up to the puzzle room, and
Excellent.
you guys can do your own thing for a minute.
For a minute, we'll just shut down some lights.
Yeah, right.
The power's going around the bend at the moment.
Thanks, guys. Right.
Yes.
We'll be there in a minute.
Oh, Thomas, where are you walking down the street?
I just wanted to show you. I'm outside my shop, and the sun is shining.
Yeah.
It's not shining here. Look at him.
Where's the escort?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, I
can see.
That's sold. I sold that one.
Oh.
I used
3 o'clock in the morning here.
Is the shop supposed
All
to
right.
open, Thomas?
Go back upstairs. It's a bit chilly. Out into the night.
Is the shop open, Thomas?
Thomas, you need to keep on talking, otherwise we don't see you.
Well, it's not open, but I'm here, so if somebody comes, I had one customer here a while ago.
Everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, good. Oh, that's good. Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm late.
Louis.
Well, you've
Yeah.
seen the.
Hi, Louis.
You've done it, Louis.
Sorry? Can't hear anybody.
Louis, you've seen the whole tour already, haven't you, of Brian's tour?
Oh, yeah, I've been into his museum quite a few times. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah, we were
I'd
just
like to go over there for a visit now. but we're stuck where we are. They've built a big wall about 50 meters tall, about 100 kilometers south of us, and we're not allowed to go past, and anybody living south of there aren't allowed to come north. So we're restricted to just a very small part of New Zealand at the moment.
Grief.
Wow.
Hopefully that'll change on Monday.
Is it you two? Yeah.
Hi, Simon.
Oh, looks like James has joined us in the middle there as well. Hi, James.
Hi there. Just trying to work out how to turn the sound on and off.
Yeah.
Learning curve we've all been going through over the last few weeks of working from home and things like that.
There you go.
Right, that was the organised stuff for this morning's session. The main attraction was Brian and Sue taking us around the shop. For those of you that have joined us a bit later, if you have a look at the chat function on Zoom, there's a URL for some puzzles that Nick has put up for us. Some folding puzzles to have a bash at and a puzzle hunt. The puzzle hunt Nick was suggesting is best enjoyed with friends. You can do it on your own, but it took me quite a while. Hopefully it won't take you guys nearly as long. And have a bash at those. And yeah, get yourself up on the leaderboard if you can. That was pretty much all I had organized for this morning's session. So there's time for chat among ourselves if we're interested. Otherwise, we'll catch you at lunchtime.
Yeah, I'm going to go grab some shut-eye before next session. So, but thank you so much.
Are you sleeping in 3-hour bursts?
Yeah. How do we get it?
Lunchtime is how many hours away? 2 hours or 3 hours, is it?
So let's say it's 22:11 here. We're going on in 2 hours, 20 minutes, I think.
Oh, that'll be late. Yep.
Oh, Louis, you'll stay up.
Yeah. I'll have to get Sue to keep me awake.
We're 2 hours ahead of you, Brian.
Oh, grief. Bye, Sue.
Hi. It's 9:45 here at night.
Right, 11 hours ahead, yeah.
12.
So if you're 11 hours ahead, it is going to be 2 in the morning or something silly.
I know.
But I guess that's what some of the American guys are doing at the moment, so.
Yeah.
Ken, you've been very quiet through all of this.
I'm trying to behave.
Why?
It doesn't sound like Ken.
Yeah, what can I say? It's this whole quarantine thing.
I bet Kendall's playing with one Soma or another, trying to repair
Oh no, I'm
broken
just
ones.
breaking them. I don't play with them anymore. Well, though we have a Soma session coming up, I believe.
Yeah, Ali and I are cooking up a couple of challenges for the beginning of the afternoon session.
It's difficult to make something that's not boring because you can't. Everyone understands the Soma. You're very limited on what you can do with it. So we're playing around with it. See how it works.
I mean, you could print some Eiffel Towers on the side and make it difficult that way.
Yeah.
Nah, that'll never work. Oh, excellent. Johan, you didn't have any questions for Brian about the wood shop?
No, not really. It's very good to see another shop. I mean, my shop is not shop. I work in a double garage, and it's only me, and there's only so much that one guy can do. And as you all know, I only make at most 10 or so puzzles on a run, because it gets pretty boring to push 1800 blocks through a router to chamfer the edges and so forth. So, yeah.
That's when you need to employ someone to do that for you.
Yeah, but employing somebody here in this country is easy, but to get rid of him is not so easy. So I'd rather work on my own and be in charge of my own destiny than having to have somebody here that just buggers up everything. And yeah, I understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, Ali often says the same to me.
Yeah, well, I'd never employ you either. So.
You couldn't afford me.
No, you wouldn't fit through my doors.
What kettle, dude? Are the brass monkeys up to anything interesting at the moment?
If anyone knows, maybe you do.
Yeah, we're. I mean, we're about halfway. We're probably about a third of the way through our Kickstarter. So that's been interesting. Trying that for the first time. So if anybody hasn't seen our Kickstarter, go and take a look. We just thought we'd give that a try, see how it goes. We've got some other polls. I wonder if I ought to go and grab one and wave on the screen.
Yes, do so immediately.
Yeah, I'm just going to turn the video off while I stand up because those of you
Not wearing pants.
Gentlemen of veteran eyes.
Thank you.
Yeah, with the Kickstarter, the Kong that we've put out there, we knew that it's not going to be a massive appeal. It's a high price tag, but it's something we wanted to explore. And so, running a Kickstarter campaign, we've kept it absolutely as basic as we possibly can. There's loads of things that we could have added in there, but we want to understand Kickstarter. Don't want to go out there and sort of fall flat on your face first time. So this is really a learning curve for us, so we can see see if it's a useful tool. I mean, we've basically put it out there as a marketing tool to find out if we can get greater reach. But coming back in, then the puzzle Steve's going to probably show you now is we're looking at perhaps doing it again, but with this puzzle in mind.
Yeah, I think the Kong puzzle is quite large, quite expensive, and I think for Kickstarter to really get the numbers, you need to have something a little less expensive. But I guess does I'm in mirror.
Ooh.
Can anybody guess what that is, or tell me what that is?
Looks like a brass soccer ball.
Yeah.
Puzzle?
Which puzzle is it based upon?
Piece burr. 6-piece burr.
No.
More than 6.
No, isn't this a coffin?
It is a coffin.
Very good.
Any further guesses, and I'll show you.
Which coffin?
Someone's got to go for it.
It's an exploding.
I know what. I think it's that.
Oh, it's got one.
Oh.
Am I right?
No, Nigel. But that's a great. That's a good call.
Oh, I'll shut up again now then.
Allard did the same.
That was my guess.
It has twice as many pieces.
Twice as big.
Edit the coffin.
It was that. You're close.
Twice as many or 3 times as many.
Oh. It's not good at numbers, is he?
It's a satellite puzzle.
Oh,
Hexstick.
Oh,
there you go. It's around one of those.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so that's what's coming next. But we've worked with Derek and done a sort of an exhaustive analysis of the hexstick shaped puzzles, and got a few new designs. I think including a couple that are coordinate motion. So all of the existing, whether it's hectics, gamics, hectics revisited, all of those designs, all are sort of sequential assembly. We've managed to find some coordinate motion disassembly versions of the hectic shaped puzzles, but made with the same sort of core set of 10 pieces. So looking to do those in brass, and I think we got the prototypes. So these, I don't know, a couple of days ago. I think you'll see just how long it takes for us to get from prototype to market. It will be a few months yet, but that's it's almost we haven't finished we haven't finished the Kickstarter on the latest, and we're already getting excited about the next one.
The hex sticks puzzle that first went over to the engineer for him to have a look at, just to see whether he could machine it. He's had that over a year, and he keeps staring at it, thinking, "How can I do this?" Then Steve's printed some pieces, put all the maths together. All these puzzles have been marked up to show the geometry of how these things work, and still he's been staring at it. And then he came to us and he said, "I'm changing my business, exactly how it's all going to work." He said, "I'm actually removing one of the pieces that I make." He said, "I haven't enjoyed making it. I'm now no longer going to make it, and it frees up a load of area in my shop." So he said, "Is there any particular machine you think would be good for the shop?" Which we couldn't really advise him. There was lots of different things, and then he came back and said, I found a machine that I think might open up, give some openings to you guys." And he said, "I think I might take a look at these hex sticks and see what I can do." And yeah, so well over a year later, now we've got our first prototype, like Steve said a couple of days ago. So yeah, pretty exciting.
Excellent. I really like the look of that thing. I like the fact that it kind of looks like a soccer ball from some angles, but it gives you a really nice puzzle as well. Steve, you mentioned coordinate motion. How many hands will be required to assemble said coordinate motion thing?
Just the usual 6, Allard.
Cool. Okay.
6 hands each.
Yeah, sometimes I worry. Yeah, that sounds like
the fingers, isn't it?
Oh, we've lost Simon. Excellent.
Right. Steve, Ellie, you know, in wood there's lighter and heavier types of wood, but in brass there's not going to be lighter and heavier types of brass. Is that a limit on how large you dare to make puzzles? Does it ever get too heavy?
I don't believe they can get too heavy, because I know for a fact that Steve would like a Nova Plexus that's a little bit larger than what we've got. It's the math says it weighs in at about 1/4 of a ton.
Yeah. I mean, really, the only limitation is common sense.
Or the amount that the crane can lift.
We have no limits.
You shouldn't really be asking us that.
Brian said we have a 15-ton crane, so 15 ton for that example would be the max.
Exactly. Exactly. I was going to say you should be asking Brian, not us. He's already done it.
That's a good thing about puzzlers. We're not blighted by common sense at all.
I've got to say thanks, Brian, while we're on here as well. That was absolutely amazing. It's my job's changed slightly, so I'm no longer on the tools, and I do miss those days where I see all that machinery and think, oh wow, that's incredible. But your setup is well.
Yeah, it's taken 30 years to get that set up too. You got to put that into perspective.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
And like I said, we started off with one radial arm saw, and I was humming and hawing about buying one router. So, you know, things change.
Well, it's not stagnated, because obviously you've just got your new mill as well, so you're still moving forward, and the 30 years will turn into a few more yet.
It takes a long time to assemble all the tools and train yourself and get all the skills to actually try and make something.
Yeah, you got to actually teach. I'll put that in. You actually got to teach yourself how to use them most of the time too. So, you know, you might have a tool for a couple of years before you get actually really good at it.
Yeah, no, I mean, with a small CNC that I have, I've had it now for about 10 years, and it's only now that I really start to explore the more intricate uses of the machine, because it's totally self-taught. There's no, I'm sitting here at the back end of nowhere, so it's not that easy to communicate. I mean, this is the first time that I've communicated with a group of puzzlers in all the time that I've been involved with puzzling at all.
Yeah, well, when I bought the CNC, I actually cheated. I employed Juno, who was really, he actually taught himself how to use the CNC when he came and worked for me. I bought the machine and he said, who's going to operate that? And I said, you are. Go and learn. That was the easiest way out, because me and computers don't get on well at all.
Yeah.
Brian, you told us that you were selling puzzles on a local market some 25 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Were you living from making puzzles at that point in time?
I made it a full-time living. When we say we started in 92. That's when I say I was making it as a full-time living. But I have to be really, really honest. You know, Sue still had a job, and occasionally she might have been working to pay the people who work, because I would have had people working for me even then. And occasionally she probably paid their wages rather than me paying their wages. So, you know, we had our ups and downs.
So when was the turning point when you thought, well, this is really kicking off and I can really make money from this?
Oh, well, that's 1992. Yeah, that's 92.
92,
I went full time. Yeah, 92.
Oh.
And prior to that, I was probably only making them for about 6 months or something. I still was working for myself anyway. But yeah, but in what I was saying, but in that time, since 1992, there's been some ups and downs, but that's not much of an issue at the moment, because the website has just taken off in the last 10 years at least. And you know, it's probably, well, we've had the website only. We've never even done a market for
since 2002.
2002. I've never done a market since 2002. So I'm very antisocial now. I was joking about that before. But yeah, so that I'm surprised that the website, well, the business itself has grown every year. It's never gone backwards in a year from a yearly takings point of view.
I retired from paid employment back in 1975 to continue making puzzles. And I'm still doing it nearly 50 years later, because I started in making puzzles in 1972. And I'm still making a living out of it. It's quite comfortable these days. And, you know, my shop does really well at the moment. I thought everything would die because of COVID. But New Zealanders have got nowhere else to go. So they're all coming to my little shop and spending lots of money. We're having a busier season in the middle of winter than we did in summer. So, you know, it's been a great season.
Yeah. It's similar for us as well, Louis. As soon as Victoria had its full lockdown again, the girls were making remarks on it the other day, you know, like the amount of orders that were going to Victoria, it's just crazy. They've got nowhere to go. So they just go online and start buying things, because we've got, in Australia, in a week or two's time too, we've got Father's Day. So, you know, we've been busy for that too as well. So it's working out well for us, that's for sure, the COVID side of it.
Same thing here.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that big one.
Yeah. I was talking to Alan Stein a while back, and it was actually, he's having the same thing. Puzzles are just walking out the door. So we don't like to talk.
Even our Prime Minister.
Even our, Sue was just saying, even our Prime Minister at one point said, I want you to stay home. I want you to stay home. Buy a puzzle and work out how to do the puzzle. Stay home.
That was good.
Yeah.
Our Prime Minister said, be kind. And people have been kind, stay at home and have a holiday in New Zealand, support local tourism businesses. So they've been coming.
Yeah.
Selfishly speaking, I'm really glad to hear that the puzzle sellers are doing well in lockdown, because it means that they keep going and keep supplying us our needs.
Yeah.
I don't sell online, but I've been getting orders through emails, and somebody wanted 4 rush hour games yesterday. So trouble is, they're my last 4, and I have to get some more from Australia.
Do you know a man?
We don't sell it.
You don't sell yours, Brian?
No, we don't sell.
Well, I guess you're just online.
Yeah, we're just online.
You used to, didn't
Some of
you? They're still one of our best sellers. With you, Thomas, are they still your best seller?
You just tell me what you need. I have it here.
The puzzle's really cheap, but the freight's going to kill you, Louis.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, getting them here is another matter. It takes a lot longer these days to get stuff from overseas.
Well, there's just no flights. Our business, like no different to what you're just saying, our business to the States, like our sales in the States would have been, prior to COVID, would have been 50%, if not value-wise, probably even higher. But that's just died because there's just there's no flights out of the country and there's no flights into the country, or very few. I think we're down to about 5% of the flights before. There's only about 5% of the flights that were before COVID. So the mail is just not going out. And at one point, Australia Post put all our stuff on a ship and said, we'd already paid for air freight. They just put it on a ship and said, oh, tough luck. So, and luckily it's all got there. There's no problem. They actually got their stuff, but a little longer than they expected.
The Finnish post do not send to, for example, to Australia. So I have a lot of orders here, packed and paid for, but they just wait here.
Yeah.
And the customer.
Give me their address, swap up.
You don't have those items,
Yeah. We
rush hour.
Brian,
not as big
your
as
IPP box.
They ordered quite nice puzzles.
Puzzle Smackdown.
It's all right. Me and Thomas are really good mates, even though we don't sound like it.
Oh, excellent.
Brian, have you got your IPP books yet?
No.
Or they stuck in transit?
I have no idea. We've got lots of stuff stuck in transit because Japan is not sending to Australia. So we got puzzle boxes and everything sitting on the docks in Japan. We got stuff. Will Strivers is about the only guy who can send me stuff. I don't know what the story there is.
This is for you, Brian.
Oh. Oh, my plastic heart.
Brian doesn't like twisties.
No, I don't.
Got a shed load of them there.
I remember, I think Marcel Gillen said to me once, he says, and he's right, they're very colourful and they look good, but you don't have to actually do them.
Yeah.
They're like collecting stamps. They're like collecting stamps. You don't have to actually put them on an envelope.
You should scramble that, Thomas.
Yeah, never.
I'm sensing that guys want to carry on chatting. So how about, what's the latest puzzle that's come through your door? Grab it, hold it up, tell us what it is. I'll go find one.
Unstable eggs.
Oh, sorry.
Cop out.
About some
Should be more
balls.
cop-outs in Europe.
Okay. I've got it.
Right, you leave it
Unfortunately, I'm not allowed.
There's a box of
So I'll do this
from
instead.
Will Drivers.
Oh, Kamiki Airlines. Nice.
Right, let's
There
go
we
through
go.
it. Ken,
Took
that
me a
looks
lot
like
of time yesterday evening to solve.
But I should be serious now.
Oh, Chris, that's a great box with the lizards. Did you solve it?
I've had no time.
Okay.
I've looked
No,
at it.
oh,
I've
you're gonna
looked
enjoy
at
that.
it.
It's real good.
I found a pair.
Yeah?
Rob.
Yes, and Thomas.
Ah.
I suspect there might be one of those in a box which literally arrived while I was on the call.
Probably from Will, yes.
Yeah, it's a box from Will. I had no idea. I suspect that's what's inside.
I got
Ask Brian, if you get a box from Will, it might well be like 100 Lotus puzzles.
No, it's 56 actually.
Only 56, right?
Hi there.
In a day.
I got this ages ago. Is my video working?
Yep, we got you, James.
I got this ages ago, and I was really insulted when I found it hadn't got any stickers on it. So I'm looking for a volunteer.
Send it to Thomas.
Thomas?
Should look like this.
Yes, I
Just
know.
pay his airfares over to England.
How much you charge me to stick my labels on?
Well, the flight is about 500 euros maybe, and I don't need a hotel. Maybe.
But you will be in
Well,
guaranteed
that's
for 2
cheaper
weeks
than
if
the
you fly to James.
7,000 that the brass monkeys charge.
I thought they would make them so that you could transfer them automatically, but it doesn't seem to work.
One at a time, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, one at a time is really tiresome. And how long before they all
1,000 pieces
fall off
later.
anyway?
Right, so everybody had their puzzles there. Ken, it looked like a copy of Cop Out that you had there.
Yes, Cop Out 1 through 3. These are by Alan Lunsford. He sells them on his Etsy site. They're actually
Rarely.
quite
You should
nice.
make more of those.
Good.
And he does them and he puts them up, I think, weekly.
Yeah.
Oh, I should keep an eye on that better.
Yes. And they're very reasonably priced.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Louis, it looks like you got a Kamiki Airlines.
I did. I'm glad I got that. I knew I solved it how many years ago when I went through your exchange puzzles, but now I got a copy for myself. And it was tough. I made the same mistakes.
That's a great
and it took me
puzzle.
more than an hour again.
Yeah.
Yeah, great puzzle.
It is.
Oh, Ali, that looks like something from Yavuz.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had Steve and I got them sent over as one parcel originally. It was too heavy, so he sent 2 parcels, and one arrived about 3 days later, and the next parcel didn't arrive for another 3 months. And there was a bit of a worry, but I spoke to Nigel about it. Actually, is Nigel still on here? And he said he'd waited equally. That he said I wouldn't even worry at the moment. He said just let them keep coming. He said eventually, he said, you know, if they, you know, they might get lost, but I don't know if anyone else has got this set of puzzles, and they start off pretty easy, and then they do change, and they're like these levels. There's a smaller one as well. It's really, really good levels of puzzle because they're not all ultra difficult or all too easy. They're really enjoying them.
Sorry, what
Which
are
one
they
did you
again?
get, Ali?
So
I never will find it.
Number 7, okay.
yep. But I think there's 8 of them in total. But yeah, 1, 2, 3 sort of fairly easy, and then they start getting pretty tricky. So I think number 5 is has eluded me at the moment as well. I can't remember which one it is, but there's one of them's good fun.
Respect.
Is that the same as the brass monkey brush? 1, 2, and 3 are doable, and 4 to 7 are much harder.
4 to what?
4 to 7. Oh, you're not stopping at 7.
Oh no! I thought you'd only said 5, Allard, originally.
No, at least 6. At least 6.
Keep them coming.
Where's this rumour?
Johan, that looked interesting.
This is most of my puzzles is homemade because it's too expensive to import it. So this is Barium by Stefan Chaumine in France that I made. And I can't remember this one's name, but this is also a homemade one from Yavuz Dermian in Turkey.
That looks interesting.
It's a maze with it's engaged in a box with 3 pins. On the inside, there's 3 pins on the box on the outside.
Yeah.
It goes into the maze and you've got to take it out. It's not too difficult, but it's pretty tricky to make. So I made one to see if I can actually do it. So yeah.
Result. Rob, I couldn't see if you were waving a puzzle around. Oh, you were waving around the Constantine one, yeah? You and Thomas had. Have you had a bash at it yet?
Yeah, I found a configuration which looked like it could solve it, but then in the end, still didn't fit. So, but I got it yesterday, so I've been playing around with it.
Just 24 hours so far. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, with some other distractions now going on. That's.
Thomas, you've solved that one easily?
Yes. Well, not easily, but it took 5 minutes.
Good stuff.
Maybe 20.
Okay. I look forward to trying mine then. Rick's holding up Unstable Legs. Is that the first one or the second one, Rick? Rick, you're on mute.
I have both actually, but I haven't solved them yet. I got through the first 2 or 3 of both of the half dozens, but the others are quite a bit more tricky.
They do get tricky as you go on, yeah.
I'm not sure yet whether they get more tricky or more impossible.
I really struggled with at least one of them. Even knowing exactly what I was trying to do, it was still an absolute pig to try and get it to do what you wanted it to do.
But I haven't put enough time in it, so.
Nice one. You're a man who likes his eggs standing up, aren't you?
Yeah, I do. But in a way, I hate them.
You've got yourself to blame, mate. James had held up a horrible twisty puzzle with no stickers on it.
If you don't put the stickers on it, it's always solved.
Strategy. Oh, he's sticking it while we've been waiting.
I've got 2 stickers, 2 and a little bit of stickers.
It's just the angle. Okay.
But it's too horrible a job to have to do. It's just nice as a thing.
Yeah.
Without the stickers, I decided.
There are also twisty puzzles where you could remove the stickers and they're still not solved. So this is going to be a cuboid and doesn't look like a cube or cuboid at all.
It looks broken, Guts.
It's not broken. It's actually turning quite nicely. So first thing, get it back to cube shape and then care about the stickers without peeling them off, of course.
So it does make a cuboid with the stickers scrambled as well.
Yes, it should, because you can
Oh yeah, of course.
turn those top layers.
Yeah.
It's too scrambled up, but you could rotate like the
Yeah.
top layer, and it scrambles like a 2x2x3
Yeah.
twisty puzzle.
Yeah.
I got a bit foolhardy and just scrambled it. Now I have to solve it.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. What you got, Tim? Tim, you're on mute.
Tim's on mute. Tim's miming puzzle.
Tim's still unmuted. He's not listening to us.
No.
Let me see if I can unmute him. Can I? Can you unmute yourself, Tim? Ah, there we are.
Maybe we can guess what he was saying.
This is John Roush's design.
Ah.
It's a cage and a bunch of polycube pieces to try and pack in. And it also comes with a little jig so you can solve the shape first and then work on getting it together. I've given it in a couple hours. It's pretty nice.
It's a fun one to play with. Beautiful box too from Eric, isn't it?
It is. It's real nice.
Nice work, yeah. Louis, you're up next on my screen.
Oh, am I? Well, my latest puzzle I got was this one. Well, it's an old one.
Oh, balls.
Balls. It's called castrating puzzle. Basically, what you're going to do is get balls written on two sides, and that's not as easy as it looks. So you know,
Variation of instant insanity.
Sorry?
Variation of instant insanity.
Yeah, that's why I got it. Just, yeah, it's not an easy one because everything is every direction.
Yeah.
At least with instant insanities, they're all the same color in every direction. This one, the left.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of that. Yeah.
So I've had a bit of fun with it, but I haven't got there yet.
Excellent.
I only got it a couple of days ago.
Right. We look forward to seeing it solved at lunchtime. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm awake at that time.
What's come through your
figure out time differences
there.
What's come through your letterbox, Steve?
Oh, through me, mine.
Yeah, go for it.
The latest is I'm still going on the. Oh look, I've got my Zoom background interfering with my
Ooh, look at that.
with my blue box. But still, I bought this limited edition Toyo glass puzzle with a beach scene, animated beach scene on it. But no, still trying to collect them, and managed to pick this one up from a Japanese auction site. So came through in the week. They're getting increasingly difficult to find, but it's one of the sort of stack the dishes 6 pieces, and yeah, growing in size. And I hadn't realised I turned the movie the background on at work just to distract people in the most important meetings possible, and I forgot to remove it for this serious puzzle event. But no, still going with the Toyo glass. Getting to that point where I think I now need to make a proper list so that I stop buying duplicates.
You must be running out of things to still get, though, surely.
Sorry?
You must be running out of things you still need.
Yeah, there's a few more, but it's getting there. It's yeah, I've got most of sort of the packing fruits and food in glasses and a lot of the tray puzzles. So there's the rate of acquisition has slowed dramatically, and yeah, a few.
Have you got all the chronogram glasses?
I have one of those. I'm not sure. I sort of at the moment I'm trying to persuade myself that they're not part of the full Toyo Glass collection because
Oh yes, they are.
James.
And it was terribly sad because I was missing several, and Seiki very kindly sent me 4 that I was missing, and didn't pack them properly, and 3 arrived broken.
Oh no!
I've sort of sellotaped
different sort of puzzle then.
I sellotape them together, so it's better than nothing, but it's very sad, and you never see them for sale.
It is, and of all the people I want to get into a competition with collecting puzzles of a particular type, I'm not gonna take the bait on that one. You've got more broken Toyo Glass glasses than I have.
I might have more that are not broken as well.
I've seen your Toyo Glass collection. Yes, you do. You have many more. It's yeah.
Have you got my list?
I have your list. Thank you, James.
Right.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you got found things that are not on my list? In which case, let me know.
I will do. I don't think I have. No, I think your list is depressingly comprehensive. And
Why depressingly?
Well, because I don't have a comprehensive collection yet.
Well, nor do I, of anything.
Okay,
I need one of you guys to take over my collection from me. Who's got lots of room?
Okay, hands up, go on. Nobody. Oh, there we go.
I'm trying to figure out what to
Allard
do with my
ought to-
collection.
Allard ought to do it. He's got a big garden, and he's got a wife who's got an unnecessarily large sewing room.
You're lucky she's out the room at the moment, James. Shane, what's your latest puzzle? Go off.
Well, I'm not allowed to show you what I've got at the moment, unfortunately. So one of the things I keep playing around with is the monkey's little banana eating thing, which I quite enjoy. It's pretty good. That's fun. And some of you have already seen it. I've been working in the workshop myself, but as Brian said, I've built the mechanics of the insides of a new thing I've done. I'm trying to find the enthusiasm to put the rest of it back together, but I'm very happy with that at the moment. As you know, the van was in an accident, so the workshop was full up with the stuff that was in the van. Now the stuff's back out, so I can get back in there. But something I spent a lot of time on was this permutation lock, refurbishing this. So this was, something I'm very happy with, and I'll continuously play with it while I'm at the desk. So yeah, that's all I've got for the moment.
That is a gorgeous fidget toy.
Yeah, there's a lot of work in that. You wouldn't want to know how many hours that took me to get that to that. And there's only 2 of them, as far as I know, around. That's it. There's only 2. So a very nice piece to add. And if you don't understand what a permutation lock is, basically what happens is when you put the keys in, you can physically change the key. So you put one key in, unlock it, put a different type of key in, it completely changes the bitting. The idea of the security, like banks and stuff, they would lock it up, or that would be like customs and exercise. They would lock it up with one key, and then someone couldn't come along and impression the key and open the door. The idea was you needed a different key to open it. But the mechanism, like the idea, I'll bring this when we come next VMPP, you can see the physical interactions when you use a different key. So that's something I've enjoyed doing and playing with, and the little monkey puzzle there, which I've quite enjoyed. And this thing drives me nuts as well. I've pulled bits out of it and put it back in. This is from Steve, but I have no idea how it works, not one bit. I'm too frightened to put it apart too much.
I'm sure one of us could take it apart for you, mate.
No, I can take it apart. It's to put it back together.
Ryan, what's your latest puzzle that you're playing with?
Blue
Box. Yeah. Those are good fun.
Yeah, no, it was good. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
That was quite a nice mass market thing. Yeah.
Yeah. They're actually out of stock of them at the moment.
Yeah.
I think they're going to start a Kickstarter campaign for a second one soon.
Yeah.
Different one.
They sent me.
Yeah, that one looks quite fun.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Nice one. Chris, what you got?
Me, the latest one that I've got that I haven't solved yet is Free Me 8.
Ah. Nice one.
I've basically got nowhere on it because I've had no time at the moment. But yeah, it's on my little table screen, which unfortunately is ever growing. But
yeah, I've got one of those too. Right, we've got Taus and Yael who look like they might kind of half be on, but they're not sending video at the moment. So, oh, Taus has arrived. Taus, what puzzles have you got recently? Oh, looks like he's in a horror movie.
Deep into the puzzle hunt.
Oh, right, he's doing it. Good.
Probably, well, recent purchases, something like this. You probably know this one. Where's my hammer? Sorry?
You lost your hammer.
Yes, and I still haven't figured out how to solve this one. I have a big backlog of puzzles from various places around the world that haven't been sent due to circumstances yet. But yeah, so it's been difficult to keep track of which puzzles are new and which are not.
Is Yael there or not? Looks like she might be kind of lurking in the background, but not really chatting. In which case, that's fine.
No video, but I'm here.
Cool. Tell us about your latest puzzle.
Well, unfortunately, there is not much. But I still have a backlog of a lot of stuff unsolved, so I'm fine.
That's the one thing about collecting puzzles, is that the list of to-be solved puzzles tends to grow, I find.
And not only that, you forget how you solve them as well. So then you have to resolve them.
Value for money.
Yeah.
This arrived from Australia recently, is a new thing from Chinny. It's had most of its pegs pulled out. It's supposed to look like a coronavirus because Chinny felt the need to make a coronavirus puzzle. Other than take the pegs out, I haven't done much more to it yet, so it still needs to open up. I suspect there's probably something inside which is going to levitate and make breakfast and shout at me. Some of that might be true. But yeah, looking forward to getting that one open. Should be fun. Right. Well, it's now 11:30, so we've gotten slightly over. I suspect we'll draw a line about here and regroup at 1 o'clock for the next session. If that works for you guys?
1 o'clock, right.
Good
1
idea.
o'clock, yeah. So hour and a half from now, for those of you in different time zones. If you can still be awake in an hour and a half, we'll see you back otherwise.
Time there.
Take care, everyone.
11:30 now. Reconvene at 1 o'clock in an hour and a half. Cool.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
See you in an hour.
Sure, Brian.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Midnight.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, I was